Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of ADTROCIOUS. I am Seetor, and this time I have a special treat for you. We're looking at a political ad this time, not my usual wheelhouse, but I think you'll soon understand why I chose to take a look at this one. This is No on Medical Marijuana / No on Amendment to Florida. You might want to buckle your metaphorical seatbelt for this one. Wow, we barely got 5 seconds in before our first pause. First, let's talk about this music. Its sense of urgency, I have to say, does not fit the visuals on the screen. If you want to have an urgent sound effect like that, I recommend you put some dynamic visuals to go along with it. I know the creator of this thinks the text on screen is enough to warrant this, but I don't know if reading briskly is what he wanted to inspire in the audience. Secondly, let's take a look at what the aforementioned text actually says. Apparently, if Florida legalizes medical marijuana, it will lead to all street drugs becoming legal, like in Colorado and Washington? Now, I have to admit I don't know a lot about American narcotics law, but from what I gather, 6 years after this video came out, drugs are still illegal in both of those places. Let's go on. Okay, this is the last slide before we get into the real meat of this ad. First off, how does medical marijuana cause narcotourism? Second off, narcotourism sounds pretty dope to begin with if you ask me. I think whoever made this ad never hung out with a stoner before. In my experience, they're great fun.
Boy, I'm finally in Florida. I can't wait to get stoned.
Hell yeah, bruv. I had to write bruv cause he couldn't read the English slang bruv correctly. Wait, stop reading this part. No. Do
I even need to say anything about this? The way the bus moves in just spawns a crowd of people, 4 different people multiple times, is amazingly bad. It makes me think of the kind of acid flip video game Jim Sterling might cover on his channel.
I need marijuana because my toe hurts.
Here is the pod note.
I wonder if the video creator realizes how ridiculous he sounds with this. If you're afraid that doctors might prescribe marijuana too much, that doesn't mean medical marijuana should be illegal. It means that you need to ensure there's a control mechanism for how it's prescribed. That being said, I love how the pot doc label is a layer ahead of the woman walking out. Did she become the pot doc for a few seconds? Acquire a temporary medical license? Where can I get me a pot doc license?
Here's my pot card.
Ha 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 ha.
Gotta say, that little boy has balls. And the voice to go with them.
Here's my pot card.
The situation is obviously stupid though. A child could not get a pot card to begin with. After the scene we are shown a slide that says otherwise, but I'm going to leave the section going into the mistakes this video makes later on in the video. For now, let's keep going with the animations.
Ooh. Someone left candy.
Yum! They ate the pot candy. 911.
Did they just drop unconscious because of some edibles? How little does this video creator know about cannabis? Also, parental negligence is always an issue. It's not going to get worse just because marijuana is legal now. For a second there, I thought this was the Family Guy house. But no, it's just a regular cartoon house in front of which a photo of a real ambulance slides by.
I'm high on marijuana.
You might think this is unrealistic, but I always comment on the fact that I'm high on Mary J when I'm about to get into my car as well. And I too have witnessed stoners shooting green clouds out of their mouths at the speed of sound. Now she propels the green clouds at a more sensible speed. Very sensitive of her. What? What the fuck? Why did the dog suck in the fucking joint? When the slide before this talked about pet poisonings, I thought they meant edibles again. Don't animals normally try to stay clear of any smoke or fire? What is happening here? I hate it when my dog becomes Australian after sucking in joints, man. Just the worst.
Puppy, what happened?
What happened?
He has been poisoned by marijuana. He could have died.
Wait, are you telling me that the dog flipped into another dimension with an opposite y-axis without dying? This video is making weed sound appealing, to be honest. What a trip. Ah, now we come to the edibles with pets points, right? I don't know why I expected something sensible to happen here. You previously made a point about pets and edibles and showed us a dog slurping up a joint instead. Now you're showing us edibles and there isn't a pet in sight. Why did you make your video this way? Just why? And I know this is just a result of the animation, but Mary J continues to look pretty fun. Lets you fucking shoot your gun telekinetically. Truly, weed is how you fulfill the ultimate futuristic American dream.
Good morning, class. Let's do some math questions.
Oh, I can tell where this is going. This is gonna be hilarious.
David, what is 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2 equals 1. Duh.
What? That's not right. Jane, what does pi r squared mean?
I'm sorry, but what kind of algebra class is this? That the teacher goes from 2 plus 2 to pi r squared? I mean, it's been a few years since I was out of school, but I remember there were a couple of classes between those 2 points.
Jane, what does pi r squared mean?
Ha. Pi's are square.
Pi.
Ooh.
What's wrong with everyone? You are all acting dumb.
No, that's just rude.
You've been smoking marijuana, haven't you?
I want some marijuana joints.
Here you go.
Ha.
Again, the reality the creator of this comes from is apparently incredibly funny. People push grandma out in front of the hospital to protest medical marijuana and then deal it in broad daylight in front of grandma. Maybe grandma is actually meant to be the kingpin here. I'm on to you, Granny. This is the last bit of animation in this. It shows the people of Florida expelling the pot pushers out of their state. I just want to note at this point that the amendment passed with an overwhelming majority. So much for that. Now that we're done with the animation, I'll comment a bit on the factual, quote-unquote, dimension of this ad. I leave my own position about weed out of this, just let it be known that I have nothing against stoners. In fact, I know quite a few of them who are generally great fun. Now let's get debunking. I'll make this a speed round because the claims are so easily and trivially disproved. You know, it's funny, I've got the text of the amendment right here and nowhere does it say anything about other conditions. All it says is that it can be prescribed by a licensed Florida physician for debilitating illnesses, which in the text are defined as cancer, epilepsy, glaucoma, HIV, AIDS, PTSD, ALS, Crohn's disease, Parkinson's, MS, or other comparable conditions. Nothing about stubbed toes, nothing about anything like that. Again, this is just wrong. Pot shops cannot be run by anyone. They require a license. Just like gun shops in the US do. Yes, they can be located next to schools. Just like gun shops in the US can. But just because they're near schools doesn't mean they will have a detrimental effect on the schools. Just like gun shops in the US don't? Actually, caregivers need to be, according to the amendment, at least 21 years of age and need to be licensed by the state of Florida as such. Almost, you might say, like a background check. And I don't think the state is likely to issue caregiver licenses to drug dealers and violent felons. Concerning the children, the problem with your assertion that there are no age limits in the amendment to text is theoretically correct. However, the law says a physician can only prescribe marijuana to a person if he determines that the health benefits of the stuff are greater than any potential negative health outcomes. So, no kid will ever be prescribed marijuana by a Florida physician. And so, you are, once more, wrong. To be entirely honest, I don't know enough about cannabis and THC to comment on this point. I'm sure what's being said here is hyperbole, but I don't want to comment on it. Now we're done with the factual side of things, and on this slide we see 3 websites. Are you prepared for perhaps the biggest bamboozle yet? Out of the 3 websites listed here, 2 are still active. The bottom one, Learn About Sam, is from an advocacy group that is not opposed to marijuana itself, but wants to regulate the potencies available, if I understand correctly. The middle website is not active anymore, which is a small wonder, given that the video is 6 years old and the amendment passed 4 years ago. And the top link, voteno2.org, leads to a German language website advocating for marijuana legalization. So, 2 out of 3 links are, somewhat, pro-marijuana. This makes me wonder, was this entire thing a false flag operation all along? A purposefully stupid ad to weaken the anti-marijuana position? Or did those 2 websites used to be anti-marijuana but went defunct, after which they were purchased by pro-marijuana groups? Either way, I draw my metaphorical hat at whichever chess move was being played here. What do you think? Was all of this a fake? Leave your comment below. Hey, future Seetor here from the editing room. So I went to the Wayback Machine to test my theory, and it turns out I was correct. WorldNode2.org was purchased at some point this very year in 2020 by whoever runs the pro-marijuana site. So, you know, that mystery is cleared. Now we've arrived at the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you gave me your feedback in the form of a like, a dislike, or a comment, whichever applicable. Do you know an ad you want me to cover? Comment it under the video or send me an email. This has been Seetor. Thank you for watching this episode of ADTROCIOUS, and I'll see you around.